Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
I mean, these shirts are selling like hotcakes.
They are.
John,
in
they
fact,
really
I
are.
had some. I had some for breakfast.
So did I.
Delicious.
Yeah, they were. I didn't really want any, but when you have that extra batter left over, everyone's fed. Because I don't usually eat breakfast.
Hey, better.
Yeah. Swing better.
Swing better.
Can anyone name that movie? This is a social
Too
media
easy.
thing where you actually have to ask the question.
Oh, can anyone? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, you can answer now because no one else is raising their hand.
Well, it's obviously Ferris Bueller.
It is obviously Ferris. I might have to go watch that movie today.
It's an awesome movie.
It is.
Worthy of a watch.
Yeah, I watch it at least twice a year. I mean, it ranks pretty high on my list.
Wow.
It never unseats Goonies. I'm sorry.
Jeez. Your list is amazing with Goonies on there.
My list is amazing. It is. Now, I will admit that the movies that I like, the ones they bring joy. It's not because they're necessarily good quality movies. They just bring joy to my life.
Because they're crappy movies. Yeah.
Because they're entertaining movies.
Well, okay. So, and I would say guilty as charged with Johnny Dangerously. Have you seen that?
Oh, yes, I have. And that's a movie I don't like. It's
a guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
No.
It's I believe that's the one with Johnny Depp. It's a series, but Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Look it up while I'm talking about it. But if it is the movie I'm thinking of, it has Johnny Depp in it.
So in other words, you don't want me to pay rapt attention while you're speaking?
No, not at all, because you're just going to make fun of me.
Oh.
So Johnny Depp. So there's a bigger plot to the movie, but one of the subplots is he's going around to these different restaurants in Mexico, trying their carnitas, which is one of my favorite things. So anytime I try a New Mexican restaurant, I always try their carnitas first to see if I like it, which is fried pork. And
Sheldon Sands was Johnny Depp.
Okay, you mean Johnny Depp was Sheldon Sands?
Yeah.
Well, I got what you meant. The listeners are on my side for that one, I'm sure.
Whatever.
Anyway,
no, they're not.
So he goes around to these different restaurants, and I don't remember for sure, but I think in one of the voiceovers that he's doing is that when he finds the perfect carnitas, he's going to kill the chef because there shouldn't be these. So the very last, and spoiler alert, folks, if you haven't seen it, the very last restaurant he tries, they are the perfect carnitas. So he goes into the back of the restaurant and shoots the chef.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's also known as Desperado 2.
Right. Yes, that was the series because Desperado came out and then Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Got it. 2003.
Yeah, which they're both, I think both of them, or at least Desperado is a remake of another movie that was actually, I think it was a Mexican movie.
Okay.
Also titled Desperado.
That's interesting. Well, you probably don't have to give out a spoiler alert to a movie that's been out for 21 years.
You would hope, but you never know. I could be selling it so well. I could be selling it so well that people really just want to go and see it.
Sure, yeah. Okay, yep. Potentially. Hey, let's talk about my shirt.
Let's talk about your shirt. It's potty time.
Potty time.
PoddiMouths.com. They're selling like hotcakes. We have 2 people that have ordered them.
Maybe we should sell hotcakes.
There we go with hotcakes again.
See?
Now we're going to go down that rabbit hole. We're trying to talk about the shirt, John.
They sell like hotcakes. We should sell hotcakes with PoddiMouths.
PoddiMouths hotcakes. Potty cakes. Potty cakes.
These things are selling like T-shirts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, how about it? Anyway, it's great. It's an awesome shirt. And we talked about it just last week. And we're like, hey, I should order one. And I did the moment we got off the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's here.
Not the exact moment, because it took me about 10 minutes to get it up on the website.
You were doing it during the podcast.
That's true. I was. I should do that more often. So whenever we bring things up, that's there by the time this podcast.
I'll buy new things.
Is it Lisa?
Can't take it. Nope. It's just my phone that I forgot to mute.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
my phone
Lisa
never leaves
doesn't
mute.
call me. She's like right out there.
Well, she could. She could be here. She could hear you talking about hotcakes, calling you saying, "I want more hotcakes."
No, she'd
or
be
where
calling
is
me
my
saying-
hotcakes?
She'd be calling me saying, "You were talking about me." Okay. All right, that's my girl.
Oh boy, there you go again. Someone really wants to get a hold of you.
That's my buddy Bart. Okay, I will mute and call him back in a couple hours. We'll probably be a couple hours, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll sit here, entertain the folks. They can watch me drinking my coffee. So my coffee today, folks, is an Aldi's special. It is a new coffee they had at our Aldi's here in Nashville, in the Bellevue part of Nashville. Yes. And it is a German coffee, which I don't think they actually grow the beans in Germany, so I don't know why it make it a German coffee, but it says it all over the box. So I did that, and it's a pour over that I used I sent John a picture earlier. It's a Stanley cup. Mm-hmm. No, I got the Stanley cup well before the Stanley craze.
Thank
folks.
Goodness.
I'm not one of those people. This is the one that came with the pour over that matches the cup. So I'm a little bit nuts.
You are weird.
Today I did a pour over with some Himalayan sea salt, cinnamon, and turmeric. And it's very, very good.
Excellent.
I thought you were taking the call. I was entertaining our guests. Or not our guests, our listeners.
They're our guests.
I
was just actually sending him a text just to let him know that I would call him back.
Yeah, is he one of those people that if you click the thing that says it goes to voicemail, he'll call back again, thinking that you didn't get it's like, dude, come on. No, I don't mind my friends doing that, and my friends do that too. But it's kind of like if I hit the do not disturb button, there's a reason. Don't try to call me back. It wasn't a mistake.
And it's funny you say that because there are a few that do that and pretty consistently, and they go, "Oh, I wonder if he's alive," or whatever.
Yeah, I'm alive enough to hit the mute button, the send a voicemail button.
Exactly. So that's why I do a quick text just in those cases.
For those of you who don't already know this, John is not on Apple. He doesn't use an Apple phone. He uses an Android.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't.
Did I say that out loud?
I'm curious because I don't know on the Android phones when someone's calling, if you can, because on my phone, if someone's calling, I can actually hit a button and send a text right there. Like it has preset texts, or I can customize. Okay, so it does have that. Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know if that was a thing on. Mm-hmm. I figured it was, but
I think Apple got it from Android.
Maybe it's not impossible.
Yes,
they old steal Apple from Android. Everyone steals. Isn't it? They say stealing the highest form of flattery.
Flattery, exactly. Yeah. I don't think they say stealing, but
no, they don't. But
I think it's imitation.
Imitation. I like stealing. I think that's the next shirt. Stealing is the highest form of flattery.
And that's why I stole this shirt.
Yeah. Flattery is the highest form of PoddiMouths. Ooh.
Okay. That's quite a stretch.
So going back to your shirt, I'm really impressed that we had such a big influx of shoppers and people just on that shirt alone. I mean, we've had that merch store up for a long time, and we launched it, and all of a sudden, boom, we've got people buying right and left, literally one for the right hand, one for the left hand.
They're selling like
biscuits.
I like biscuits. Okay. All right. I like biscuits.
So, I like biscuits. Well, you know what? Wouldn't you say that more pizza is sold per day than hotcakes?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want our shirts to sell like pizza.
Well, I think the difference is people don't buy hotcakes. They just make them at home. Pizza, on the other hand, most people will.
I think it depends on where you are.
Pizza oven. You have a pizza oven.
Oh, I do have a pizza. No, that wasn't where I was going.
Weird.
There are a couple of restaurants here in Nashville. Mm-hmm. One is called the Funky Griddle, where you go to the table and actually griddle in the middle of the table, and you make your own pancakes at the table.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then there's also the I think it's the Pancake House. Is that what it's called? I think it's Pancake. It's a famous restaurant here in Nashville. So famous I can't remember the name. But it used to be down by the Vanderbilt. There is still one down by Vanderbilt, but in the mornings, if you go down there on the weekends, there's a line outside the door. Always.
Wow.
And it's not a small restaurant. Like it's probably got 100 tables in it.
That totally prevents me from going out.
Oh, yeah. I've never been. That's probably why I don't remember the name. We've been to the Funky Griddle, but I've never been to, yeah. And of course, you've got IHOP, the International House of Pancakes.
I love that. Who does Jim Gaffigan does a really funny bit on IHOP.
You and Jim Gaffigan, really? I didn't know that you listened to Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, I used to be a big fan. Now he's become a little too New Yorky for me, but that's okay. Because he's lived there for so many years in an apartment with his 5 kids.
Yeah.
And wife. But a funny dude. His whole pancake banter is hilarious. And IHOP, he said, I don't feel like hopping when I get out of there.
That's so true.
Oh, but my goodness.
Another great place for their coffee that you put sugar and cream in. I love IHOP coffee. I love IHOP coffee. I love Waffle House coffee. And I love
Lamp.
No, what's the one that's everywhere? Crack Whore Barrel.
Oh, wow. Cracker Barrel. I do like their coffee typically. I don't go to Waffle House enough because Lisa won't let me.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been in a while. I need to go.
Yeah. She is not a fan.
Yeah.
Of Waffle House.
I don't go for the waffles. I go for the hash browns.
Oh, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, and topped.
Yes, sir.
That's the way I used to order.
Yeah. Oh,
and now since then they've added like 3 or 4 other
plethora
descriptors as well. But
I'm hoping the AI is picking up on plethora.
A plethora.
Because I think that's going to be the name. Have I told you that I switched how I do the name? I used to go through and listen to the whole podcast over again to pick out nuggets. Or most of you have seen me write down names as we've gone through the episode, and that's how I come up with the names. Yep. Now, because the system that we use, Riverside.fm, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, there is a link in our bio that'll take you there to our page, so you can sign up and hopefully give us a little bit of credit. Anyway,
get big money.
In Riverside FM, there's a whole series of AI tools. So I can get shorts. It'll edit shorts for me. And it will do a whole bunch of things. Like it'll give me the full transcript. It'll give me chapters. It'll chapter everything for us, which if you've noticed in YouTube, we've got chapters in there now. And
like it.
It will also give me bullet points of topics that we discussed in the podcast. So I go into those topics, and that's where I pull the name.
Which is nothing but question marks.
Pretty much. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I do have to fill that in a little bit. No, but that's where I get the titles now, because it just has some doesn't mean I don't change them a little. Some of them I do change because I'm trying to make them a little bit funnier. They're not always funny, but sometimes I do. And so, yeah, that's how I get the name. So it has really reduced the amount of time I spend editing this podcast.
And that's good, because Lord knows, especially when we first started, oh my gosh, you used to spend so much time doing editing.
I did.
It was ridiculous. I felt bad.
I haven't even touched my audio app now I still bring it into the video editing app to add the intro and the outro with Peyton's little intro at the beginning. But that's about it. So I've gotten to a point where I just bring the video in, plop it down on the timeline, make sure everything lines up, export it out, and it goes up to YouTube, and it goes up to Spotify, which is I'm giving people an insight into how to do their own podcast.
Nicely done.
And if you really want more, give me a call. My consulting fee is very, very low, only $1,000 an hour.
Wow.
It's very reasonable.
It is. Mine's more than that, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's how it works, though, right?
I know. Yes,
it's perfect. Anyway, so it goes up there, and boom. So Spotify is the company. It's a aggregator that Spotify bought, and I don't remember the old name, but they call it Spotify for podcasters. So I go up there, and that's what aggregates it out to Spotify. It aggregates it out to Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, and then all of the other podcast places, Google,
Stitcher, and
Stitcher, so on, all of those places.
Well, and it's the other stuff that I've noticed is, as soon as we're done recording, I get snippets that I can latch onto, and I post them up on X, and it's just a nice, easy way for somebody who might not be familiar to say, hey, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And so I thought that, and that's kind of cool. So, I'm not sure you can prove it out by the success rate yet, although,
well, let's talk about that, because you and I are both marketers.
Yep.
And strangely enough, we have within work, we have a training program. So we actually build content to give out to our clients and to our dealers. One of the things that we do is a live webinar, and every month, we do it once a month. We do a live webinar. It's myself and one of our friends, Mark. And in that live webinar, we come up with these marketing topics that we share with dealers, and we share it live. This month and next month, we're actually doing a 2-part series on artificial intelligence, specifically for social media. The reason I bring that up, even though podcasts, they're kind of, it's a gray area. It's not social media necessarily, but you share a lot of the content from a podcast on social media. It's part of marketing. There are so many new tools out there. It's just incredible. The one that I wanted to talk about here is something. Well, let me back up really quickly. We have been doing this podcast for 6 years. You and I are both professional marketers. The one thing you and I don't really do with this podcast, which is why we aren't, personally, what my opinion, why we're not any bigger. And I'm not saying we're going to be Rogan big. We don't market it.
Right.
It's word of mouth. It's, it's just, for us, it's a lot of fun because we get to talk to each other once a week. We get to talk to some of you, most of whom have actually been on the podcast, I'm sure. Not all, but most. Anyway, so, we get the opportunity to talk to you, and it's just, it's a passion project. It's not necessarily something we necessarily want to. Now, would I like to make it my living? Absolutely. But that would take a lot of work. And I'm really happy with doing what I'm doing. So it's not necessarily a priority. It might be for John. I don't know. We haven't talked about it in a while. Anyway, so all that to say, if we really wanted to, we would have to do some very targeted marketing campaigns, specifically digital campaigns, because it's a digital medium. And some tools out there really make that a lot easier now. And one tool that I've actually started using, which, funny, my trial actually ends today, and I did make the decision to go ahead and start paying for it, so it's called blaze.ai, and you go in there and you build, what are they called? Oh, shoot. I can't remember the name. We're having name trouble today, folks. It's my mushroom coffee. We need to talk about mushroom coffee, but my mushroom coffee isn't kicking in yet. I can tell you here, though. It's where are you, Blaze? There you are. Brand voices. So you build brand voices. Brand voices.
Oh, got it. Okay, there was a T in there someplace. I wasn't sure where that.
Not brand voices, brand voices.
Brand voice-tiz or something.
Voice-tiz? You're hearing things today. You haven't had enough coffee.
No, you just play it back. Play it back and you'll hear it.
So I'm not going to play it back. That's the nice thing about AI. I don't need to.
Don't need to. Hey, anyway. And I want to say about AI just real quickly as an insert. You and I are the original artificial intelligence.
Yes, totally artificial. Yeah.
Okay,
well, I don't know if I'd put our intelligence at the end of that.
Well, yeah, as long as you have artificial first.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Anyway, so
intelligence. They're brand voices.
Yeah,
come up with brand voices. No, the brand voice. So with my level, the one that I've got, I can build 3 brand voices. So I've got one for Jen's business. I've got one for a buddy of mine that I'm doing some side work for. Hopefully he'll be on the podcast at some point. He's a musician, folks. If you ever get a chance and you like country music, look up Uncle Rhino.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Uncle Rhino. Anyway, and then the third brand voice obviously is PoddiMouths. So it's really interesting because you can go in there and you can create a bunch of different campaigns. You can do very specific, individualized. So I could do one just for Instagram, or you can build blog posts and things like that in there, or you can build a massive one. So for example, I went in and I built a blog post. And so you go in, you title it, you tell them what your campaign is about, you give them sources, web sources. And then you tell which brand voice, which the brand voice you build, and it copies your website and stuff. So it just looks at everything that's in your ecosystem.
Yep.
And then you add some SEO keywords and you tell it any other way to configure it. So if I was going to do a blog post, I'd do all that. I hit send, and it gives you six to 10 different blog post ideas based on the topic that you wanted to discuss. Then you pick one, and then it actually writes it for you. And of course, you go in and you edit it. Then you can build a campaign on that. So it'll take snippets out of it and give you ideas and things to post in the different channels that you decide to post it in. So it's really neat. And it takes, so I built one for Jen. I built a blog post, and then I built all the social media to advertise that blog post. And it took me 10 minutes.
Wow.
To do all of it. Now I still have to pick images. That's the one thing Blaze doesn't do. There's another one called Predis, Predis, I think. They will actually build the artwork for you, but there are not a
couple of them out there.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, the tools just make life a lot easier because that's the one of the reasons we haven't done the marketing, besides what I said before. It's just not something that it's priority for us.
Yeah.
It's just the time it takes to do it.
No question.
And this cuts the time in. So I actually posted on our socials some of the content from Blaze last week. Yeah. So awesome. It just makes everything a lot more efficient. Let's just put it that way.
And I will say that in the event that at some point we become bigger than we are, you know what? It's good that I still like that there's a sense of enjoying what we do enough
absolutely.
so that it's not about making it that. If it happens, great, as you said, but we don't strive to be Rogan, and they obviously have very targeted marketing with his stuff because he can afford it.
Yes, I can still hear you. Don't worry.
Something
for those of you not watching, I had to take off my headphones for a second.
I'm saying something incredibly brilliant, and
I could hear you. No,
it's artificial intelligence, but
artificially, I heard you.
But it's cool that we have. Yeah, okay. Well, you have 5 years of PoddiMouths you can listen to.
Yeah,
just if you want to get caught up.
Right.
So it's already out there. Anyway,
yes, maybe someday someone will pay for our library.
Or not.
I doubt it. It's not that good, folks. This podcast really is not that good.
Not like we couldn't replicate it. Give us the topic and we can start over. It'll be fun.
The next PodMouths, potty hands. Or potty ears.
Potty ears.
Potty ears.
Potty time.
Well, we wouldn't have to rework that except for the URL. You just put some black tape over the mouths part and just in white. Use a white marker and write ears.
Oh, we're not that cheap. Come on. Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are. We really are. So anyway, all of that to say, there are a lot of
coffee.
My mushroom coffee. Oh, AI and mushroom coffee.
Well,
there's a reason they're having us drink mushroom coffee.
Obviously. So talk about that because I've heard of it.
Yeah,
but not. It doesn't sound like it's something that I would be delighted with.
It's supposed to replace your coffee. And by the way, I'm drinking regular coffee now. It doesn't have enough caffeine for me. So we're trying it because it's supposed to have some health benefits. And I love, you and I have talked about AG1, and you folks probably seen it everywhere. They advertise everywhere. John uses it. I still use it, but I just don't like how expensive it is. I'll just put it that way. It is so very expensive. There you go. Not a sponsor, so I can say it's just so expensive.
It is.
And so I get it for myself, but Jen is also interested in it. So what is that?
This is what I've replaced.
Smarter Greens.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is $20 at Walmart.
Yeah. See that? So I was debating on changing to another greens powder like you, but I also was looking into a few other things and a few other options, because one of my biggest things is just because with AG1, I don't know how many of you have AG1. So the ones that have it know that you're supposed to drink it before you eat anything in the morning.
Yep. Empty stomach.
Yep. Which is fine. I mean, it doesn't make me feel sick or anything. That's not the point. But I don't usually eat anything in the morning anyways, but I don't like to make that my first thing. And it's weird. I would much rather have a cup of coffee first thing, even though I don't do that either. But coffee or water, I struggle with it. Anyway, that has nothing to do with why I'm trying to get rid of it. Jen would like to get on some sort of routine like that, but I only get enough for me per month. Yeah. And let's face it, folks, it's $100 a month.
Yeah, it's
so expensive. To get enough for Jen to do it, now we're spending $200 a month on something we just drink once in the morning. And you can get the same for a lot less expensive.
Well, and I don't want to say the same because I don't know. I mean, this stuff, AG1 is made in New Zealand.
Yep.
And it's supposedly this amazing stuff. And it's fine if I notice the difference. That's always the question with any supplement I take.
Yeah.
Have I noticed a specific difference? And maybe.
Yeah, I would say the probiotic and the prebiotic is really the only thing I've noticed a difference in.
Okay.
So, meaning, folks, not to be gross, but
you're going to be gross. Everybody knows it. Yeah,
that's all I really have to say. Not to be gross. And people know what I'm talking about.
Yes, that's true. Well, and in AG1's defense, I have not tried the Smarter Greens yet, so I say it's a quarter of the price or whatever.
Yeah, but you might not have the same.
No, it may not. And
yeah.
So I'll give it a shot and see how it goes.
So a lot of the stuff with the mushroom coffee is supposed to do very similar things with your body,
digestive
with the digestive. Yeah. But it also adds in energy and mind clarity, whatever that means. So obviously it's not working yet because my mind is not that clear. But I'm just trying different things I might enjoy. Coffee is one of those things that I absolutely love. You all know that. So I thought, let's give it a shot.
Which gives you mind clarity and energy.
Exactly. But it's supposed to be a different type. Like, with coffee, you'll get that when it kind of wears off, you just kind of get the at the end of the day. Now, we're going to talk about that in a second too.
Yeah.
But with this, it's not mud water, but I'm going to call it mud water because that's basically what it tastes like.
It's excellent.
Because there's a brand called Mud Water. I did not get Mud Water.
Got it.
So it tastes like absolute garbage.
Mm.
And that's my biggest problem with it right now. I haven't done it long enough to get those health benefits from it. So I'll let you know about the health benefits after I do it. But I have to add, when I make it in the morning, it's 1 tablespoon of the powder, the mushroom powder.
Mm-hmm.
I have to add cinnamon, turmeric, salt, and milk, and agave to make it drinkable.
Wow! And I've heard agave syrup is one of the worst things you can drink.
I've done agave and I've done honey, and just the only reason I switched over to agave was because it doesn't take as much because you had to put a lot of honey to taste it in the muddy water.
Yep.
But I would prefer honey anyways.
Yeah.
So you're adding a lot of calories, and calories is something I try to avoid in the morning. So it's kind of offsetting. Now, that said, it comes with a book of recipes, and I haven't gone this far yet. So you don't have to drink it. You can put it in chia pudding. You can do it in overnight oats. You can do it in shakes. So it can be a supplement rather than a drink.
Interesting.
So I haven't tried any of those, and I probably will. But the other side of it is I got 60 servings for $60. So it's still cheaper than Athletic by far.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so again, look at and I'll be interested to hear the outcome. What is it? Have you noticed a difference, and what does that do?
Right.
My problem is I will do multiple things at once, and so I don't know which one is working.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
The others, yeah.
I canceled I skipped my next few AG1s, so I'm not getting AG1 moving forward. So, but right now I still have AG1, so I'm taking AG1 and then the mushroom coffee.
So
you're doubling up. I'm doubling up, but I haven't noticed.
Excuse me.
I was hoping for more clarity and more energy. That was my main thing that I was hoping for, and I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed any of that.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to coffee, we've talked about Huberman and the Huberman podcast on our podcast before, so I would ding Huberman.
Good.
If you're interested in a lot of neuroscience stuff, from a guy who looks like he was a Navy SEAL. Hooverman's your man. But he actually talked about in one of his podcasts, the reason you get that sluggishness at the end of, or when your coffee wears off. Mm-hmm. We talked about last week how Jennifer has to have her coffee first thing in the morning.
Yep.
Well, he says you shouldn't do that.
I've heard the same.
You need to wait an hour to an hour and a half after you get up for your body's chemistry to change.
Too long.
So I know it feels like that, but I actually haven't had a problem with it. So what I do with coffee is normally on a weekday. So if I'm home because I travel a lot, but when I'm home, I take Peyton to school. And Peyton's school is 35 minutes without 30 minutes without traffic, 35 to 40 minutes with traffic, both ways. So I will get up in the morning. We'll leave the house. So I'm up at 6:30. We'll leave the house by 7:15. I'm back by 8:15. Usually that's about when I roll into the house. And then I will have a cup of coffee. That's the first thing I do when I get home. So I've got that from 6:30 until 8:15.
Yep.
That's my window. I have noticed I have a lot less sluggishness during the day.
Okay.
And I've actually been able to reduce the number of cups of coffee I drink for the caffeine. Now, that doesn't mean I've reduced my number of cups that I want. I just reduce the number of cups that I need to stay awake.
I don't get the sluggishness.
Really? Well, you also drink coffee before bed too.
Sometimes, but that's a different. I don't before bed unless we're out at a nice restaurant or something, and I feel like having a cup of coffee at the end of the meal.
Yeah,
I've done that a handful of times, but for the most part, 5 p.m. will be my latest that I'll have coffee. Just because.
Yeah, and see, I won't do it past 11:30.
No, Lisa either. She's the same way. But again, as I've explained in the past, I have trouble sleeping anyway, so I might as well have the coffee.
Yeah, just you got to enjoy life. Period.
It just doesn't really change how I sleep. So you know, it's no big deal. But it's I don't get sluggish after I drink coffee. I'll have a cup in the afternoon sometimes, but usually one or two. And I talk in a big cup. That's I start with a mug in the morning. That's really all I have. I don't drink it through the day like a lot of people.
Right. And see, I'll drink it through the morning. So 8:15. I'll drink up until about 11:30. And it's a lot of it is just having a warm cup of something. So I've also, back to the health thing, I've also switched to bone broth too. So I'll have,
which is awesome for you.
Yeah. So I'll have my mushroom coffee at 8:15. And about 9:30, I'll have my regular coffee. This is my this past week's regimen because I just started the mushroom coffee. So then I'll have a cup of regular coffee because again, not enough energy from the mushroom coffee. And then right after that for lunch, I will go have a cup of bone broth and just sip on that. So a hot cup I just like having a hot cup of something with me while I'm working. That's just, it's very relaxing. It helps me focus.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Again, there has to be, because you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on supplements. And I mean, I have, I have some besides, as you know, we've both tried the AG1 and some of these others, but there are things like CoQ10 that I take, and that offsets my my chemo pills that I take every day, and it just changes because I used to get a rash on my arms from those, and CoQ10. Somebody told me, and I started, and I'm going, oh, this is awesome, and it just totally eliminated that. So that had an obvious effect.
That's good. And so the argument, I'm sure we have a vegan or two listening to the podcast. Or let me rephrase. We've got some health nuts because that's much better. We have some health nuts that are listening to our podcast.
Yes. And that's good.
But I will say that I do believe in what I'm doing. With the reason I chose to start taking AG1 is, and I'm getting a little bit more into our lifestyle here, but Jen was a vegan and I did the vegan thing for a month. And quite honestly, I felt great. I really did.
Vegan or vegetarian?
Vegan. I was vegan for a month and then I was vegetarian for about 6 months.
Okay.
Because I couldn't give up my cheese or my eggs. I love cheese and eggs.
Yep.
I after 6 months, I couldn't live without my Italian sausage. So I became, anyway, no. But even when we did make the transition, or I made the transition back to eating meat, and then Jen eventually did as well, we were what we would refer to as a mostly plant-based diet, meaning we would maybe have meat twice a week at the most. Because I believe, she doesn't necessarily, but I believe there are plenty of health benefits from eating meat with the protein and things like that.
Yes.
I'm not going to go so far. I'm probably never going to do the carnivore diet, which people rave about. I'm probably never going to go back to veganism or even vegetarianism. Because I think a well-balanced diet, and that's the key, well-balanced diet is probably the healthiest thing you can do.
Yeah.
We don't do that in our household right now because we can't get Peyton to eat what we eat. And at one point, because of our 3 different diets, I was making 3 different meals every day.
I remember you saying that.
And it got very old very quickly. And it got very expensive very quickly. So we basically, because you just cannot, I'm sorry, if you have ways to do it, please tell me, a parenting guide, but you cannot negotiate with a teenager or someone who was a preteen when we started this whole thing. You just can't. So we caved and we eat Peyton's diet, which is not a healthy diet. I mean, we're talking tater tot casserole. We're talking pizza. It's whatever we can, because the biggest problem, folks, you have seen pictures, I'm sure, if you've been on our Instagram of Peyton. She is a skinny mini. She does not eat enough calories in a day to maintain any sort of anything. So we feed her bad stuff because that's what she'll eat, because we know she needs the calories. We've made a conscious decision to go that route. So don't judge me on that. But
no judging.
Again, trying to save money, trying to save time, we eat Peyton's diet. So that said, that was one of the reasons I went to the AG1, because we don't get the vitamins and try exactly. And so if we actually got back to the diet that we were talking about, the mostly plant-based, I probably wouldn't take any supplements because I felt just as good then as I do taking supplements now. And of course, a healthy diet, working out, stuff like that, which I don't do, but it's it's an interesting call. I do not eat. I won't eat a meal without protein in it. So that's pretty much now too. Peyton
every meal has protein, and so Lisa could go vegetarian without too much of a problem, I think. But until it's steak night,
right?
And she,
you can't. That's the nice thing is that you have a nice nice petite fillet. You just can't have it every night.
No, well. No,
you can. I can.
Unless you're a carnivore, which, and I get it. I guess whatever works for people, and different people will react differently to different foods.
100%.
And so I think of Jordan Peterson and his daughter. She had terrible health issues that no one could fix, and she's been on the carnivore diet for 5 or 6 years or so. It fixed it. Exactly. And so if it works for her, great, but it doesn't mean it's right for everybody.
Right. And I know people that are vegans who are elite athletes, and the vegan diet is what makes them elite. But I also know, like Jennifer, the reason she went back to eating meat is because the vegan diet hurt her. Like her health was not good. She had to have meat in her diet. Now, not a lot of meat, but she had to have that certain protein in her diet to make her feel better.
Yeah, there's nothing in a vegan diet that produces protein like meat. And so not that
but some people don't need as much.
Well, okay, so that's a fair point too, and that's where different people are different, and what works for one person doesn't work for another. You look at some at the gym. So I go to the gym, but you're slimmer than I am.
You're just all muscle.
There are guys at the gym that, holy crap! How did you get that physique? Yeah, and I'm not willing to do whatever it was. Oh yeah. Although for some of them, it's genetics. And that sucks. I mean, they're at the gym, so good for them. Yeah. But oh my gosh, it's just incredible what some people, and of course they're 30 years younger than I am. That might have something to do with it. But but I like going to the gym, and it's fun doing a bench press or dumbbell press or something. And these young guys are like, okay, I can do better than that. Dude, I'm 63. Kiss my ass. And so come back when you're 63 and I'll still, I'll be 80 then. So anyway, it's funny
you'll still be at the gym.
Do that. I'll be at the gym, hopefully, and I will be eating lots of meat.
Yeah.
Before I get there.
Yeah. Bottom line is you need to eat the diet that makes you feel the best.
Yeah.
And if 100% carnivore diet makes you feel the best, do it.
Reese's
if
peanut
a vegan
butter cups
diet, exactly.
makes you feel great for like 2 minutes.
Well, there's something to be said about that. So I've talked about this before too. With coffee, I drink enough, and I drink enough water that I probably overhydrate. But when I travel, like if I'm driving a long distance, I will purposely not drink coffee.
Oh, we know.
Because I don't want to pee every 10 minutes. Everyone knows. Yeah, I'm Team Tiny Tank.
Everyone knows the rules.
Exactly. But I will get candy, and I'll eat candy because candy keeps me awake.
Yep.
And there's some instances where candy actually makes me feel better. Now I can't overdo it, but if I'm feeling down, feeling blah, and I pop a couple of Spree or gummy bears or something like that, it actually makes me feel better.
Well, yeah, instantly. But how long does it last? Well, until
for
the
me,
next one.
it lasts for me. Honestly, I overdo it. I won't deny that I overdo candy. I know that of me. But if I only have a couple, and I'll take let's just say, I think it's 6 gummy bears is
a serving.
100. Yeah, it's a serving. 6 gummy bears is a serving of the Haribo.
Yeah.
So I'll have 6 gummy bears, and if I limit it at that 6, I'll feel good the rest of the day.
Well, see, that's
if
awesome.
I'm not feeling well.
But you know that, and you know how you react to that stuff. And if I had 6 gummy bears, I'd be folks. No, I was going to say, well, I feel good. Let me take a handful more.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's me too. And well, if 6 were good, then imagine how good 12 will be.
Exactly. Yep.
I know. Try and justify it, but yes, it's not. We certainly do not have it all figured out, and that's the bottom line with all of that that health talk and so on. But it's a constant, it's an ongoing effort, though.
It is,
and you do that throughout your life, and hopefully you can figure it out. Yeah, if I stopped all the things that were bad for me or whatever, I'd probably be a miserable picture of health.
That's a huge thing. I've had that conversation a lot because I've with Jen, with even our buddy Matt, but my Matt.
Yeah. Our Matt.
Yeah. No, my Matt, because you have your Matt.
Yeah, but your Matt is our Matt.
His Matt. Well, yes.
But my Matt is my Matt. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
I'm with you.
So anyway,
Place Matt.
We were having a conversation about food, and you and I have had this conversation. I know we've had this conversation on the podcast before. What's the difference between eat to live or live to eat?
Yep.
Matt is very much a eat to live, and I am very much a live to eat. Right. I like really good food, and so for me, I believe in moderation as well. Everything is fine in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And so. I know we have our happy hours. Let's just talk about alcohol for a second. We have our happy hours, and we talk a big game about alcohol and drinking and stuff like that. And I'm the same way with my buddies. We talk about drinking and stuff all the time.
Yep.
But in reality, I probably maybe per week have 2 drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not during the week. It's usually during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Some weekends more, some weekends less, but I don't drink that much. I enjoy it. I make cocktails because I enjoy it. Some people drink to get drunk. I don't. I drink to relax. I drink to be social. And I enjoy the flavors. I'm looking for a good bourbon. I'm looking for a good vodka drink. You
also like the accoutrement that go with it.
Exactly.
The smoking. Smoking it and how it's
presented, all of that. Exactly. The experience.
I think that's there's something to that. I enjoy that part as well. But
it's the enjoyment of the process. It's the enjoyment of the flavor. Right. It's the enjoyment of it that I enjoy. Yeah.
Well,
and people say you shouldn't drink anything because it's bad for you. Yeah, it probably is. But I'm not going to give up something I enjoy
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you're not smoking cigarettes anymore.
Yeah. Right. Well, I enjoy a cigar now and again.
I've got a buddy who is very much a cigar guy, cigar and bourbon, and he loves that, and that's fine. I haven't had a cigar in probably, well, I may have had one, but other than that, it's been 15, 20 years.
Really?
And it's not, when I quit smoking cigarettes, I wasn't afraid I would go back to cigarettes if I had a cigar.
Sure.
Because you don't inhale a cigar.
Right. You're not supposed to.
No, some
really
some
sick
do
if
with
you
the
do.
little ones. Oh my gosh. But the little ones, the little Swisher Sweets, or there are some others too, that are like filtered. They look like a cigarette, except they're a cigar.
Right.
I know guys that inhale those and they get addicted to them, and oh my gosh, it's just Anyway, so it's not about that. It's just everything smells like smoke.
Yeah.
I don't like.
But
that
again, it comes down to the experience. I won't go sit on the back porch by myself and smoke a cigar. That's not the experience I'm looking for. It's
excellent point.
I'm at a cigar bar.
Yep.
That I'm enjoying with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to smoke a cigar. I enjoy that. So
go ahead.
I'm
sorry. I was just going to say I used to play golf with a guy who, and I don't play much golf, sadly. We'll talk more about that though at some point. That he would have cigars that he would put in like a Tupperware container with a rum laden something, paper towel or whatever. And then he would take the cigars out playing golf, and it was like a rum punch flavored cigar.
Yeah.
And they were, I may have tasted one of those 30 years ago, but
I have one downstairs right now that's actually, I bought it at the liquor store, but it's a Maker's Mark cigar that's like that.
Really?
Yeah.
It was branded.
I love them.
It's branded
Maker's Mark. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, that's very cool.
I love those. I think they're. It's not my first one. I've had plenty of them, and they're not expensive. I think this one was $20.
Oh, okay.
So
one cigar was $20.
One cigar was
they're not
$20.
Expensive at all.
That's not expensive for the cigars they sell there. Let's put it that way.
Crap.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, cigars are. It's kind of, but it's an example of one of those things that, okay, should we do it or not do it? And it won't, it doesn't do permanent harm like cigarettes.
Right. Here's the thing.
Just have them in moderation.
In moderation. But here's the thing. You can choose to be super healthy physically.
Yep.
And if that makes you mentally happy, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most people that do want to be healthy are gonna have to have some vices, because let's face it, it doesn't matter if your body is physically healthy if you're not mentally healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of those vices lead to mental health, mental clarity, mental whatever. So, they play a part with each other. It doesn't matter if you are not physically healthy, you can't be mentally healthy, and vice versa. So, if those vices help you, why not?
Yeah. Again, all things in moderation. And
exactly.
I think that is kind of the theme of the show today.
I think so. I really think so.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we covered a lot of stuff.
We did cover a lot of stuff. I was going to almost say, let's take a break for a second and then come back and do a second episode and just call it episode 2, but I can't think of anything else to talk about.
Well, golf. I have some golf stuff, but it's not episode worthy.
Let's take a break. Okay. We'll come back. Folks, we're going to take a break. It's going to be a week long. We'll see you again next Tuesday. And John and I are going to pick up on the conversation starting with golf. In 3, 2, 1. You want to see it real quick before we go and do the...